The following data represent the serum HDL cholesterol of the 54 female patients of a family doctor. The population mean is 57.4 and the population standard deviation is 11.8. The data has a bell-shaped distribution. Part A, determine the percentage of all patients that have serum HDL within 3 standard deviations of the mean according to the empirical rule. We are told that the population mean is 57.4 and the population standard deviation is 11.8. We need to determine the percentage of all patients that have serum HDL within 3 standard deviations of the mean according to the empirical rule. So first, let's look at a diagram of the empirical rule. So now let's replace mu and sigma with the actual mu and sigma values for the data set. Mu is 57.4, so that will go in the middle. Now let's compute mu plus sigma, and we get 69.2. Now let's compute mu plus 2 sigma, and we get 81. So that means under mu plus 2 sigma, we will have 81. Mu plus 3 sigma is 92.8. Now let's compute mu minus sigma, and we get 45.6. Now let's compute mu minus 2 sigma, and we get 33.8. And mu minus 3 sigma is 22. So every time you use the empirical rule, these numbers right here are going to be specific to your data set. So these numbers will depend on the mu and the sigma for your data set. Part A wants us to find what percentage of patients have serum HDL within 3 standard deviations of the mean. So remember that the mean is here in the center. So now we will go 3 standard deviations to the left of the mean, and this will be at mu minus 3 sigma. So now let's go 3 standard deviations above the mean, and this will be at mu plus 3 sigma. So we need to find what percentage of the population is between mu minus 3 sigma and mu plus 3 sigma. This will be 2.35% plus 13.5 plus 34 plus 34 plus 13.5 plus 2.35. If you add up all of these percentages, you get 99.7%. So 99.7% of all patients have serum HDL within 3 standard deviations of the mean, or between 22 and 92.8. Part B, determine the percentage of all patients that have serum HDL between 33.8 and 69.2 according to the empirical rule. For Part B, we want to determine the percentage of all patients that have serum HDL between 33.8 and 69.2. So that's going to be between these two purple lines. So to find the percentage between these two values, we need to add up all of these percentages. So we add these percentages and we get 81.5%. So 81.5% of the patients have a serum HDL between 33.8 and 69.2. Part C, determine the actual percentage of patients that have serum HDL between 33.8 and 69.2. For Part C, we need to determine the actual percentage of patients whose serum HDL is between 33.8 and 69.2. So let's look at the raw data. Let's circle all the values that are between 33.8 and 69.2. We have 45 values that are between 33.8 and 69.2. And we have 54 total patients. So let's divide 45 by 54 and we get 0.83 repeating. Now let's convert this to a percentage by moving the decimal over twice. We can rewrite this as 0.83333 forever. So when we move the decimal over twice, we get 83.3%. So notice that when we use the empirical rule in Part B, we got 81.5%, which is basically a general estimate for all data. But when we looked at the actual percentage of the data that is between those two values, we get 83.3%, which is pretty close to the estimate from the empirical rule.